Welcome back, everyone, to NRE The WrestleVerse. I'm your host, Eric Brown, baby, and we are talking about Adam Cole, baby, versus Chris Jericho, baby, in a unsanctioned match because they couldn't call it a lights out match for whatever reason. So, with the returning Sabu, this was actually shocking. There were no reports, no rumors, no statements coming out that Sabu was going to show up for this storyline. He showed up on the Dynamite before the event and shocked everybody, and they brought up how Tony Khan actually was the one who made the choice to bring Sabu in, mostly for personal reasons, mostly because the one time he was at ECW show, his first ECW show, it was Chris Jericho and Sabu, showcasing that he is in fact a giant kid who's a massive wrestling nerd fan, who is sadly also a billionaire and therefore is living out the power fantasy that we as grown adults will never get to have because the economic system of America sucks. Bring out the old Adam Cole baby shirt just to keep myself from getting depressed. So let's get right into this. So here's what I'm just gonna say. I'm just gonna say this. It might be a little bit of a hot take, spicy. This should not have been the match. Oh, I'm not saying like the match is bad or sucks or anything. It's just when you think about it for more than 5 minutes, you start to think, especially after what happened on Dynamite after Double or Nothing, you start to think, wouldn't it have made more sense to have this be the Dynamite match, and the Dynamite match they did do with Chris Jericho and Saraya versus Adam Cole Bebe and Britt Baker be the match for Double or Nothing, considering the storyline did connect with the Outcasts and the Jericho Appreciation Society? I'm just saying, like, wouldn't this make more sense and whatnot? If I was the booker, I would have pitched that. If I was part of the creative team, I would have pitched that. So that's just my 2 cents on that. But yeah, Adam Cole, this is like what, his second unsanctioned match, and yet it's okay. It seems like Adam Cole is destined to not have the great unsanctioned match in AEW. Like, at best, they're good, but like when I think of the unsanctioned lights out match rulings, it's like I want them to be super violent, uber violence, destruction, just showcase the violent, vindictive nature of this event. Surprisingly, there was no blood in this match, so they were so I was thinking like, oh, they'll probably make it up with a hardcore element. And like Sabu's gonna do some insane stuff and be the worst enforcer ever, because really picking a side with Adam Cole and Roderick Strong, so Sabu's not the best enforcer in the world. But yeah, Sabu beat the living hell out of Jericho Appreciation Society of Roderick Strong and chased them into the back. Adam Cole and Chris Jericho would start tussling it out, and then Britt Baker would start kindling the living hell out of Chris Jericho as revenge for a few weeks back. Like, here's the thing about this. The story is actually pretty damn good, in my eyes, from when I was rewatching the clips and whatnot, when I was able to get a hold of the episode since I come home late from work, the hour mark of the show. Yeah. Luckily, I will get to experience Dynamite on June 14th at the place where it all started. Hope to get a Bullet Club Gold shirt. Anyways, so yeah, the story has been good, and I like the vindictive personal nature of vendetta out of it. I just feel like the match was very tamed in terms of the way it was being built up as. Like, it being an unsanctioned match made sense, but considering the feud's still going on, maybe it would have been best to have this be the finale match, and the tag team match they did on Dynamite the show after be the pay-per-view match. That's just my 2 cents. And even how they ended it, it's like, but this is an unsanctioned match. The only way this match can end is by pinfall or submission, not because Jericho's getting his black eye in. yeah, Jericho got a severe black eye in that match. So, yeah. But surprisingly, there was no blood involved. There was no... I want to say some memorable bump moment. I feel like that usually these kind of matches will usually justify having. Like everyone talking about Orange Cassidy and Adam Cole's lights out match, where Adam Cole just hugs... where Orange Cassidy just hugs Adam Cole and crashes him into the tables. I like, granted, that was a weird ending, and probably Adam Cole could have like done like 5 different plans to get out of that. But like, it's just that thing where you're like, this should have been more violent, just to sell the story. And the fact that they still continue this feud, like usually when a lights out or unsanctioned match happens, it's usually the end of a storyline nowadays. It's not like Triple H and Shawn Michaels' match, where they kept the violence afterwards. And this was Shawn Michaels' first match back, and like, yeah. And I'm surprised they never brought up the fact that they could have used the hold harmless agreement where the company couldn't get sued for the storyline like they would do with Seth Rollins and Triple H. But that's just my 2 cents. Yeah. I don't know what's next for Adam Cole after his feud with Jericho. Like, they teased it a little bit on Dynamite a few weeks back, where Britt Baker confronts MJF and teases Adam Cole's gonna go after the world title. And I was like, I'm kind of mixed on that. Like, not because I don't want him to go after the title, it'd be awesome. I just feel like we'd be rushing way too soon into that already. After Adam Cole had just gotten back, granted, we just did a hardcore match essentially. And in fact, here's the thing: I like the Roderick Strong match better than the Adam Cole match with Jericho, because at least they were going all out with it, no pun intended. And they actually were doing things that made it a lot more memorable than it could have been, like, you know, going outside and having Adam Cole, the face, being the smart guy here, and Jericho being the honorable villain for some reason. And was shocked that you were. It's just, I feel like they should have done more with this stuff. Like, had Sabu done more, had Adam Cole do a little bit more in this match with Jericho. Honestly, I kind of wish Chris Jericho brought back the Painmaker fully, like he did with Nick Gage, which was still a hardcore no rules match. In fact, they never really give the different. Here's the thing. One of the things that also bugged me is, as much as I like the Battle Royale that we got, I'll talk about that hopefully. This should have been the opening match, and then we did the Battle Royal just to, you know, even out everything with the unsanctioned system, because nowadays unsanctioned matches either close the match or open the match. Close the show or open the show, instead of just being halfway through. Unless, because that was how AEW was doing things at the time. I kind of wish we got more out of this. I feel like maybe it was the time they were given, maybe it was that, maybe they just didn't have enough time to do the match the way they could have gone. They couldn't really they didn't try anything memorable. Like, at best it's an okay unsanctioned match, but in terms of its violent meter, it's pretty tame compared to other violent matches in AEW. Maybe they were kind of handcuffed a little bit because, well, we already have the Anarchy in the Arena match. We have all these other stuff, including Karen Jarrett going Al Capone with RB Edwards later in the night, which was funny and hilarious. Yeah, but it could have been more. I feel like had they had planned this out a little bit better, it probably would have benefited more being a Dynamite main event than a pay-per-view match. Mostly, in my mind, because the tag team match that followed, like, they continued the saga, and it's like, the match ended pretty definitively with Adam Cole exacting retribution in honor of his guilt. I don't think they're married, but yeah. And Saraya would challenge Jericho, and Jericho would challenge Adam Cole and Britt Baker, and approved by Tony Khan match on the Dynamite after, which Adam Cole and Britt Baker won. And like I said, I like that match better than what we got on this, because I felt like that should have been the pay-per-view match, and this match should have been the Dynamite main event. It would have made a lot more sense. It would have done a lot better to sell the story and continue the feud. Heck, if you really wanted to go further than that, we could have done, I'm like, granted, I don't think Saraya's doctors would have allowed this, but we could have done a lights out match with a mixed tag team match, and we could have some intergender fighting going on. Maybe, perhaps, I don't know. I think, wasn't it Santori Kazan Sam? Like, I could be wrong, but maybe I heard that once. But, yeah. The match for what we got was fine, but it could have been more. And it probably should not have been on the pay-per-view, and should have been a Dynamite main event match, just so they could get the violent out there and get the impact that it could have gotten. But, yeah. This was your host, Eric Brown of NRE The WrestleVerse, talking about Adam Cole Bebe versus Chris Jericho at Double or Nothing Unsanctioned match. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, check out the content in the description for more. Stay tuned to see more, and I'll see you all again next time, especially with the NRE WrestleVerse podcast. Peace.